Throughout the long history of humanity, many sages, philosophers, and spiritual leaders have left behind profound teachings. However, the teachings of Jesus Christ in the Bible have always been regarded as a guiding light for billions of people around the world. His words are not merely religious doctrines, but moral compasses that lead humanity toward love, forgiveness, humility, and hope. One of the core teachings of Jesus is love. He taught, "You shall love your neighbor as yourself." This love is not limited to family or friends, but extends to strangers and even enemies. When he said, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you," he raised human moral standards to a new height. This shows that love, in the Christian spirit, is not a fleeting emotion, but a conscious life decision, an active choice to rise above resentment and hatred. The famous Sermon on the Mount contains many profound teachings about blessedness. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. These words emphasize that a person's true value does not lie in power, wealth, or social status, but in humility, kindness, and a hunger for righteousness. In a world that glorifies material success, these teachings remind us that true happiness begins within the soul. Forgiveness is also a central theme in Jesus' teachings. When Peter asked how many times he should forgive, Jesus replied, "Not 7 times, but 70 times 7. This number does not carry mathematical meaning, rather, it symbolizes unlimited forgiveness. Forgiveness not only frees others from their mistakes, but also releases our own hearts from the burden of hatred. Even while being crucified, Jesus prayed, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." This image has become the most powerful symbol of mercy and sacrificial love. Alongside love and forgiveness, Jesus also taught humility. He was born in a humble manger, lived among ordinary people, and washed his disciples' feet like a servant. Through this act, he demonstrated that true leadership is found in service. Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. This teaching overturns the world's common understanding of power, affirming that true glory lies in service and self-sacrifice. Jesus also taught honesty and sincerity. He criticized hypocrisy, those who followed religious laws outwardly but lacked compassion within. A good tree bears good fruit. Through this simple image, he emphasized that what matters is not appearance, but the heart. Moral life must originate from within, from a heart transformed by love and truth. Faith and hope are essential elements in his teachings. He encouraged people not to worry excessively about tomorrow. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. This does not mean passivity, but rather trust in God's providence. In times of suffering, these words bring comfort and inner strength. Jesus affirmed that even a sparrow does not fall to the ground outside the Father's will. How much more valuable, then, are human beings, who are specially loved? Another remarkable aspect of his teaching is compassion. The parable of the Good Samaritan tells of a stranger who helps a wounded victim while others pass by. Through this story, Jesus teaches that love must be expressed through concrete action. Faith is not merely words, but active commitment to the poor, the sick, and the marginalized. Jesus' teachings also emphasize inner conversion. He calls people to turn away from sin and return to God, not out of fear, but out of love. In his preaching, God is portrayed as a loving father who patiently waits for the prodigal son to return. The image of the father running to embrace his child without reproach has become a symbol of boundless mercy. For more than 2,000 years, the teachings of Jesus have retained their value. In a modern society filled with conflict, injustice, and division, his message of love and forgiveness is more necessary than ever. These values are not only for Christians, but universal for all humanity. Love, humility, forgiveness, honesty, and hope are moral foundations that help people live in harmony and build a better world. In summary, the teachings of Jesus are not merely words recorded in Scripture, but a daily invitation to live differently. When people practice love instead of hatred, forgiveness instead of resentment, service instead of domination, society gradually changes. The light of his word does not impose, it illuminates. It does not force, it invites. In living according to his teachings, people discover the deeper meaning of life. His teachings do not stop at personal morality. They aim to build a loving and just community. Jesus did not come to establish a political kingdom, but proclaimed the kingdom of heaven, a spiritual reality that begins in the human heart. This kingdom is not limited by geographical borders or worldly power, but is formed whenever people live according to love and justice. In his parables, Jesus used everyday images, seeds, fields, coins, shepherds, household tasks, to express profound truths. Through the parable of the mustard seed, he showed that something small, when nurtured, can grow into something great. This teaches us not to underestimate small daily acts of goodness. A word of encouragement, a quiet act of kindness, a gesture of forgiveness, all can become seeds of the kingdom of heaven in society. Jesus also showed special concern for the poor and the marginalized. He dined with tax collectors, touched lepers, and defended a woman condemned by others. These actions not only expressed compassion, but affirmed the dignity and value of every human being. In his eyes, no one is excluded from God's love. This brings a powerful message. Every person, no matter how weak or sinful, has the opportunity to be renewed and loved. Another profound dimension of his teaching is inner freedom. Jesus freed people from rigid legalism and spiritual slavery. He emphasized that the law was made for humanity, not humanity for the law. Living according to his word is not about oppression, but about entering a higher freedom, the freedom to love, to do good, and to be released from selfishness and fear. At the Last Supper, Jesus gave his disciples a new commandment: love one another as I have loved you. This love goes beyond loving others as oneself. It calls for self-giving love modeled after his own sacrifice. Through the breaking of bread and sharing of the cup, he established a new covenant, inviting humanity into unity and communion. From that moment, believers were called to become living signs of divine love in the world. Jesus also emphasized watchfulness. Through parables such as the 10 virgins and the faithful servant, he reminded people that earthly life is temporary. What truly matters is not how much we possess, but how we live, how much we love, how faithfully we serve, and how steadfast we remain. Through all his words and actions, Jesus revealed the face of a merciful God, not a harsh judge waiting to punish, but a Father with open arms. This love is not based on human merit, but on grace. We do not need to be perfect to be loved, rather, because we are loved, we are able to become better. Today, as the world faces many crises, from war and poverty to moral and spiritual confusion, the teachings of Jesus remain relevant. Loving one's enemy can help heal conflicts. Serving others can overcome selfishness. Forgiveness can break cycles of violence. Despite technological and scientific progress, humanity's need for love and meaning remains unchanged. Ultimately, the teachings of Jesus are not merely a system of doctrine to memorize, but a path to walk. This path may require sacrifice, but it leads to profound joy. When people live in love, they experience inner peace that cannot be taken away. When they forgive, they rediscover freedom. When they serve, they discover their true worth. Thus, throughout all ages, the teachings of Jesus Christ continue to echo as a heartfelt invitation: love, trust, and hope. And in responding to that invitation, individuals are transformed, and through them, the world becomes more compassionate, more humane, and more filled with light.